2 minutes till broadcast. One minute till broadcast. Thirty seconds till broadcast. Five, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin transmission.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You know, it has been a very stressful couple of days, has it not? Welcome into the show. It is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Thanks for hanging out with us today, broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio station all over the country. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We appreciate you more and more each and every day, especially with all the crazy shenanigans that are going on in the world. Have you recovered from yesterday? Have you recovered from the shenanigans in Washington, D.C.? Have you recovered from the Electoral College certification? Have you recovered from, 2021? It literally just said, here, 2020, hold my beer. I'll show you what's up. And that's how we start off this new year, which we kind of half expected, but we are ready to go. So you know what? After all the craziness, I'm seeing all the news headlines. There's a lot of negativity out there right now. There's a lot of wildness out there as you see headlines of the left-wing progressives trying to blame Donald Trump for what happened yesterday with the quote-unquote insurrection and the terrorists that took over the Capitol building. It is the insurrection, and it is Donald Trump. They're trying to incite him for the violence, trying to charge him. They are working on potentially a 25th Amendment invocation to remove him from office, which is a little ridiculous because he's going to be gone in 2 weeks anyways, according to them. So now that everything's certified, I can't come to say it. I don't know how I'm going to play it. I don't know that I can say the actual name over the next couple of years if he is president. Or the month that he's going to be before he trips downstairs while he was like trying to tie his shoe or something from Kamala Harris. I don't know what happened. But have you recovered from all of this yet? It's very stressful. It's a very stressful time. And now even half the Republican Party is going after Republican members for what went on in Washington, D.C. for the insurrection. So I think, you know what, we all just need to step back for a minute. And by the way, I got a lot of support and a lot of criticism for my statement saying good on the Washington protesters, where we're not inciting violence in any way, shape, or form. We don't like that kind of stuff. We don't like violence. We're not a violent kind of people. Andy, you cling to your guns and your Bible. Doesn't mean that we're violent. We just prepare for when violence comes to us. But obviously they didn't bring firearms there, except for one or two idiots, and that's what they are. But we don't like violence. On the other hand, we did need to make a bold statement because did they really think it's going away? Do they think that was it? Oh, it's all done now. They got it out of their system. Now we can go on with a Joe Biden presidency because even though it may have been frauded, they're just going to go along with it now. It's burnt out. The popcorn has burnt in the microwave, and now it's going to be done. You think it's going away? I want to get to that in a second. But before we do, it's a very stressful time, ladies and gentlemen. I think we need to have a little Voice of Reason Therapeutic Meditation Center, shall we? This is the Voice of Reason's Meditation Corner, so welcome in and namaste. As you come into my Voice of Reason Meditation Center, we try to clear all the negative energies and the bad aura that may be around you from the concerning political environment of 2021 already. So take a deep breath and release. And I want you to think about some things while you close your eyes for just a second. While you're in your radio, if you're driving, then don't close your eyes, but be thinking about it while you be driving and not use road rage. Although that's something that the Voice of Reason does on somewhat frequent occasion. Take a deep breath. Breathe out. I want you to think about a few things. In the next couple weeks, you may see a president, Joe Biden. I want you to think about something else. That we may have a Democrat-controlled U.S. Senate. I want you to think about something else. Nancy Pelosi is still Speaker of the House and third in line for the President of the United States. I want you to think about what that could mean for the 2021 political year, or even beyond that for the next 2 years before the midterm elections. Mandatory mask mandates. Mandatory vaccines. We could be seeing potentially more business shutdowns because Joe Biden, well, COVID's really bad. A new strain of it even. Going to be killing us. Everybody's going to die unless we do a business shutdown, except for the ones that he deems as essential businesses. We may be getting more government goodies. Your taxes may be going up. Second Amendment may be going completely out the window. I want you to think about these things and go, and you need to go along with it, ladies and gentlemen. You need to go along and be in harmony with the world and be in harmony with Joe Biden and the Democrats. Because if you don't, then you're terrorists. And you cannot be part of society any longer. We will shut you down on social medias, just as Facebook has announced that they're going to ban Donald Trump indefinitely on Facebook, at least until the inauguration of Joe Biden, but maybe even indefinitely beyond that. Why? Because he incites violence. And we can't have that. So we need to ban him. Twitter has officially banned him for at least 12 hours, maybe even more. Now they've extended it to at least the 2 weeks through inauguration time, but they again have banned him indefinitely for inciting violence. You feel better about 2021? Welcome to the Voice of Reason Meditation Center. Namaste. Do you really think that we're going away? Just throwing it out there. Do you really think that we're going to be going away from all of the madness in the world, that we're just going to keel over, just be in nice little harmony? You can't be attacking Joe Biden. Can they throw the race card out there this time? I am curious if they can throw the race card out there this time, because when we countered Barack Obama and we challenged him on policy issues, we were racist because he was a black guy in office, and therefore you can't challenge a black guy or else you're a racist. I wonder if they're going to do like ageism or something against Joe Biden. You can't be challenging Joe Biden. He doesn't even remember what he said during his press conference. Why are you questioning his ability to lead the country? Is really where we're going to be at. They're going to be coming after us more so than not. I mean, look at what they're calling us now. I mean, half the Republicans, I was listening to some other talk shows yesterday, and they said, look at the Republicans that didn't get on board and support a lot of the protests. Not the violent stuff, not the breaking into the Capitol, but just the protests themselves, where they were like, oh, this gives us a really bad reputation. All these conspiracy theorists out there, the QAnon people that support this, and then the ones that did end up going into the Capitol and causing the violence and fought against police and broke through the police barrier onto the Capitol. This gives us a really bad reputation because now Democrats have won. Weren't they going to win anyways? They won because the process was happening in Washington, D.C. The process was happening in a very theatric form to where it was nothing more than grandstanding. Was any Democrat going to swing over and vote to not accept and certify the Electoral College? No. It's more ceremonial. They even said it was ceremonial. We didn't have the numbers. We had 11 senators. We had 100 Republican representatives that were going to get up, do their grandstanding, try to win over a few Republican votes to try and get their base back from the Trump people, and then be able to move forward and be like, all right, we did the best we could. It's over. But we want to hear the process play out. The process was already done. They knew what the votes were going to look like. They knew the process that was going to happen. It was done and over. But now it looks like that we're like terrorists and stuff. Add it to the list of names that the Democrats and the mainstream media has called us for the last 4 years. On top of being a deplorable, on top of being a racist, on top of being a bigot, on top of being a Nazi, on top of being a fascist, on top of being a homophobe, on top of being a sexist. Just put it on the list of all the other names that they try to call us. We know who we are. We know who we are. We know what we are. And we're none of those things, by the way. We're traditionalists. We're constitutionalists. We're Americans. We're patriotic. We know what we are. So go ahead, put it on your list of all the other names you want to call us, Democrats and mainstream media, because we don't care. We stopped caring a long time ago. Call us whatever name you want to because you are completely irrelevant. Andy, we need to come together and have a conversation. I will do so when they stop dismissing us for being conspiracy theorists or dismissing us because we're a Trumper, or they stop assaulting us because we wear MAGA hats, or stopping assaulting us because we're just a sexist or a racist or a homophobe, whatever else they want to call us. I will have a conversation when they're willing to do so without the name calling and without the dismissing, because that's what we've had to put up with for the last 4 years. And you think we're going away? Do you think that's the last protest? Now, I hope things don't turn violent. God, I hope things don't turn violent. I don't want them to. But we need to make a stronger stand. And by the way, a stronger stand is more so than just waving a flag and chanting a nice little catchy phrase at a rally and saying, well, I guess we did something, and we go home. No. Taking the Capitol in a nonviolent way was a good thing, and I still support it. I still support it. I don't want it to be violent. I don't want to go against police. I don't want to go against and harm anybody in any way, shape, or form, but something needed to happen to make a bold statement, and I still support it. I thought about it long and hard yesterday. I got home and I stayed up way too late listening to those speeches once they reconvened to begin the counting again, and everybody, even half the Republicans, well, that wasn't called for, and yada, 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 and I'm changing my vote. Kelly Loeffler, I'm glad you didn't win in the state of Georgia, because I changed my vote after what happened. Really? Number one, because it would have done any good for you to vote for it anyways. Number two, the acts of a few idiots in there that did cause harm and did something stupid. That's going to make you change your vote to say, wow, there's really not any voter fraud. I was just doing it to try and pander to a base. So now all of a sudden it doesn't matter what happened with voter fraud. You're just going to change your vote because of a few idiots. If that's the case, you should probably change to a Democrat. I'm just throwing it out there. But our grievances are the fact that we're not being taken seriously because of all the years of being called extra names, of the 4 years of being assaulted for wearing a MAGA hat, of the 4 years plus of having riots and anarchists do whatever the hell they wanted to do. Burn down buildings, loot private businesses, assault people in the street, go out and cause havoc. They could do anything they wanted to do, and there were no repercussions. You hear today the FBI is wanting to go out and wanting to get photos and videos of all the protesters in D.C. because they want to charge them with criminal intent. They want to charge them at the fullest extent of the law. We had 3 months of an autonomous zone in Seattle, Washington, where there were anarchists that were doing drugs, that were shooting people, that were burning down buildings, that were looting private businesses, that took over a police station, that did whatever the hell they wanted to do, and no one called the National Guard then. In fact, the mayor of Seattle said that it was going to be nothing more than a summer of love. That's okay. That's okay. But a couple hours of taking over our Capitol building and saying this is our place because we know it's fraudulent and we're not going to go along with the crooked corruption that's going on in Washington, D.C., that's not okay, and now we're going to be charged with the fullest extent of the law. I'm not advocating for violence in any way, shape, or form. I am saying it's time for our voice to be heard, and it's going to be heard loudly. And if they think it's just going away, all right, you got it out of your system. Now we're going to be abused by it. Now we're going to be punished for it. Now you just need to go along to get along. It's not going to happen. Do you realize we've had to endure pictures of Donald Trump's head being decapitated in photos, and it's labeled as art? Oh, it's totally cool. It's just art. Gosh, can't you have a sense of humor? It's just art. Gosh. Do you know we had to go through modern theatric plays, theater, Broadway plays, of looking at Donald Trump being assassinated because they were doing some play about Rome or something and attacking Caesar, and they did it in a modern version, and they dressed him up as Donald Trump so they could assassinate him. That's just theater. It's just art. Go along with it. We had people at different women's rallies wearing the pink hats that advocated for blowing up the White House. We had threats against Trump himself, along with Trump's family, including Barron Trump, who was 10 years old, hoping that he would die of COVID, hoping that someone would kidnap him and do terrible things to him. That's what we had to endure. But remember, we're upset, but we just need to get along. We just need to go along with it. We had the Democrats unconstitutionally and wrongfully try to impeach President Donald Trump. Now they're wrongfully and unconstitutionally trying to remove him through the 25th Amendment because of what happened, because he incited violence, which isn't true. Republicans, why can't you just get along? Why can't you just live in harmony? Now Joe Biden is the president of everyone, not just Democrats, and you just need to get along with it. Forget the last 4 years where we literally thought of you less than animals. Literally thought of you as swine in the mud because we're the establishment, we're the Democrats, we're the elites, we're the progressives. You are literally the lowest of the low out of anyone. Why can't you just get along with us? Now we're just going to have to punish you for it. Welcome to 2021.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. 24 minutes past the hour. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at. Thanks for you hanging out on the program. We appreciate you more and more each and every day. You can find our live streaming on our social media at Hooser Reason, although who knows how long that's going to last. Welcome to 2021 on that one. We have, look, I don't want to give you all negative stuff because I'm a very optimistic kind of guy. I am always been the glass is half full. Even Mrs. Voice of Reason at times like, Andy, stop being so positive. I'm always positive. I always find the bright side. So we have a lot of positive things we can do, and I want to get to those in a minute. I don't want to just be all the negative stuff, but it's frustrating when, I guess, out of this entire process that happened yesterday, two things happened. Number one, the Democrats and media found another thing to attack conservatives on. Well, whoop-de-doo. You already call us everything else in the name of the book, so go ahead and just add one other thing to our list. I don't really care about what you have to think until you actually want to come to the table with a rational conversation and not be like, well, you better get along with, like, socialism all the time or something. So I don't really care what they have to think, for number one. Look, I'm the most debatable kind of guy. I love conversation. I love debate. I love discussing from the other side of the aisle. It is my favorite thing to do. But I've gotten to the point where if you're just going to dismiss a name call and just dismiss this as conspiracy theory nuts, then I have no time for you. I got better things to do with my life. I got a lot of busy projects that I'm working on. I don't have time to sit and drivel over stupid stuff. So I don't care what you call us. Call us an extremist or a domestic terrorist. Punish us, because do you really think that it's going to solve anything? Do you think that we're just going to go away? Do you think conservatives are just going to be like, well, we know it was rigged for an election, but oh well, I guess it's all done? No. Do you really think that if they do go after Donald Trump and they repeal or they invoke the 25th Amendment or they try to do another impeachment in the last couple of weeks before he leaves office, do you really think that the ones that were there at the Capitol yesterday aren't just going to be like, it's all done. Don't need to worry about it. Oh, well, what can we do? Nah. No, it's just starting, and I don't want violence to happen, but that's the way like I said yesterday, I stand by what I said yesterday. They don't get it. They don't understand. We had some really good conversations with the process, at least a little bit before it all got interrupted yesterday. I mean, one of my favorite guys in Congress right now, Senator Ted Cruz out of Texas, still nailed it on the head. The fact that what real leaders do is they don't just look at option A or option B and say, well, these are both crap. Well, I guess we better choose one or the other and just make everybody go along with it. He says, you know what? Let's find a third option.
All of us are faced with two choices, both of which are lousy. One choice is vote against the objection. And tens of millions of Americans will see a vote against the objection as a statement that voter fraud doesn't matter, isn't real, and shouldn't be taken seriously. And a great many of us don't believe that. On the other hand, most, if not all of us, believe we should not set aside the results of an election just because our candidate may not have prevailed. And so I endeavored to look for door number 3, a third option, and for that I looked to history, to the precedent of the 1876 election, the Hayes-Tilden election, where this Congress appointed an electoral commission to examine claims of voter fraud. 5 House members, 5 senators, 5 Supreme Court justices examined the evidence and rendered a judgment. And what I would urge of this body is that we do the same, that we appoint an electoral commission to conduct a 10-day emergency audit, consider the evidence, and resolve the claims. For those on the Democratic aisle who say there is no evidence, they've been rejected, then you should rest in comfort. If that's the case, an electoral commission would reject those claims. But for those who respect the voters, simply telling the voters, go jump in a lake, the fact that you have deep concerns is of no moment to us. That jeopardizes, I believe, the legitimacy of this and subsequent elections.
See, that's what real leaders do. Let's find a third option. Let's find a way to make everybody happy. Let's validate one or both of them and then figure out where we go from there. And if it comes out one way, then fine. If it comes out the other way, then we'll address it. That's what you do. The second thing that yesterday proved was that it exposed so many who are there just for the grandstanding and for the show, but actually aren't there to really do what's necessary, which is to fight and actually make things happen. It really exposed so many of those on both sides of the aisle, doesn't it? When we come back, Marshall Hayner talking about Bitcoin. We'll be doing that when we come back here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
Is way more than just The Voice of Reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with The Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. It is a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration, the greatest day of the entire week. And yes, we do say that every single day because every single day is a day for you to carpe diem, seize the day, and make it as great as you possibly can. You know, even when craziness happens, like throughout the last week. Welcome into the show. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation. One radio listener at a time, as we are the fastest radio show on radio all over the place. I want to shift gears a little bit and just get away from the politics for just a minute. Can we? I mean, the politics is crazy. Of course, it's never going to go anywhere, and there's enough of it. And I think that, you know, after our meditation center... The Voice of Reason Meditation Center. Namaste, my friends. After our segment there, then we just need to calm down for a little bit. So I want to shift gears because I am really excited about this conversation. This is something that I have yet to get on board with. I've been so skeptical, yet so intrigued and entertained. And everybody encourages. I guess I don't know enough about it to understand it, or whether I don't know. It's just a crazy, wild concept. But the idea of Bitcoin and some of the digital currencies, is it a good thing? Is now the time for you to start shifting onto the Bitcoin? I have talked to 3 individuals that I know personally who have used the digital currency in Bitcoin to make massive amounts of money, like enough to pay off their entire mortgages and have money in the bank just by jumping into Bitcoin early. I don't know how or why. So I figured we'd bring this guy on. I'm excited to talk to him. He is the CEO of MetalPay, which is the first digital crypto banking platform that was formed back in 2016. So now we have cryptocurrency. Now we have banks for your cryptocurrency online, which is crazy. Again, now going completely over my head. So I'm excited to have this guy on the program here, Marshall Hayner. Marshall, how are you, my friend?
Very good. Andy, thanks for having me on the show. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I'm excited to have you on. I appreciate it very much. As I mentioned, this is such a new and unique industry. And I now, look, I'm not technically advanced in any way. Although I'm in radio, I'm really dumb when it comes to computers. So I try not to do more things online. But is now the time to start looking into this seriously and jump on board before it's too late?
Absolutely. I think that digital currency and blockchain, cryptocurrency, and specifically Bitcoin. And when I say those 3 words, blockchain, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, I want to be clear. They kind of all mean the same thing. Bitcoin is a form of cryptocurrency, and it is one type of blockchain. And really what this is, just to break it down for the listeners, it's a form of digital cash. Up until 2009, we did not have actual digital cash. We had essentially IOUs. So that's kind of like moving a number around on a ledger or in a bank account. If I were to send you some money over PayPal or something like that, which just added cryptocurrencies, by the way, like Bitcoin, I would essentially just be moving a number from one bank account to the next. But what's really interesting about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin, about metal and stable coins and things like this, is that they actually represent true ownership of fungible assets. And so it's become really relevant, and we're going to see this become probably one of the most interesting areas of technology over the next 5 to 10 years, because it's going to completely change the way the financial system works. And in these times of coronavirus, when, I don't want to touch cash anymore, I want to Apple Pay, GPay, I want to tap my phone at the checkout line. And in fact, most when I go to Whole Foods, that's kind of what they want you to do anyways, right? When you're going to the store, they want to see you use tap to pay because it's the most hygienic and safe way to kind of transact in 2021 and 2020. So digital currency gives small business owners the ability, and this is going to be kind of a mind-blowing concept, but the ability to be a cash-only business and accept digital payments. That's incredible, isn't it?
It is incredible, and it's definitely starting to move that way. And that was one of my big questions, is how do we value this stuff? I mean, I know now the dollar essentially doesn't have a whole lot of value because we got away from the gold standard. We're literally just printing money, and it says on the dollars that, well, it's just pretty much a Federal Reserve IOU because there's no backing behind something like this. So how do we determine value of Bitcoin? I know when this first started, there were very, very few of them, and there was like a set amount, and there weren't going to be any more, and therefore the value was going to be really high because it was just supply and demand, and there was going to be limited supply. Is that still the case? There's just like a finite amount out there, or is it now starting to grow now that a larger population is joining this sort of thing?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it gets kind of complex when you look at the dollar, the United States dollar. There is no hard cap to the amount of USD that the Federal Reserve and Treasury can mint. So that's based upon something called quantitative easing and the rate at which the Federal Reserve would introduce inflation, and this funds government operations. It also keeps the currency stable, and it's kind of the way that the currency comes into supply. Now, with Bitcoin specifically, it's what they call a hard capped inflation. So there's only 21 million units. There will never be more than 21 million units, and they're minted through something known as mining, which unfortunately has become a very kind of difficult concept or thing for normal people to do. It's basically, and you're going to laugh, but it's basically whoever has the fastest computers in the world that are special types of computer chips called ASIC chips that are guessing at random numbers, essentially, and whoever can guess the most times per second against the Bitcoin blockchain wins a block reward. And really what this comes down to is transaction payment processing for the network. Now, that sounds like a bunch of jargon, and if you want to get into cryptocurrency and you want to try this out, and it really, the way to think about it is it's digital cash in your phone. So you can have US dollars in your phone. You can truly have full ownership of them. You're actually in control of them as what we call the irreversible bearer bond, which means basically all sales are final when you transact with it. So when it comes to Bitcoin, you're not going to be able to mine any, but you can buy some. It is a limited supply. I couldn't tell you, when it's a good or a bad time to buy, unfortunately. But what I could say is that just simply learning about this stuff will absolutely turn out to be incredibly valuable into the future, because it is going to become a fundamental part of the internet. And you can see this with Facebook announcing their blockchain and other major companies announcing their blockchain. As you know, I'm the CEO and co-founder of Metal, and we have an app called Metal Pay in the App Store and the Play Store. If you download this app, Metal Pay, I created Metal Pay for everyone to be able to try this. So you download Metal Pay in the App Store, you enter your information, sets you up with a FDIC-insured bank account, and you can make cash payments and earn a little bit of Metal cryptocurrency for free just for trying it, approximately up to 5% on the payment. So why would you use PayPal or Venmo or Cash App or some of these other apps when you're getting a little bit of cryptocurrency for just making a payment? So I encourage people to download the Metal Pay app, try it. You can learn information about cryptocurrency inside the app. You can buy and sell Bitcoin. You can buy and sell Metal, Proton, Ethereum, different types of cryptocurrencies. We have about 50 inside the app. And then there's also this concept of what they call stable coins. And these are digital representations of US dollars on the blockchain. So they're actually one-to-one backed by banks, essentially, or by fintech companies partnered with banks, and soon to be by banks directly. And that's really interesting because we saw the federal regulator just 2 days ago, the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, issuing an interpretive letter, a memo, essentially saying that it's now okay for banks to integrate blockchain technology and to use these digital dollars. And my next prediction is that essentially the Federal Reserve will eventually issue, hopefully, maybe, we'll see, sometime in the future, a digital dollar. We know the Chinese government has already done this. And I think it's going to be a great thing for our economy because in these times, the epidemic times, and also just in general for small business, we should make cash settlement for small business be as easy as possible. Why should I have to go to the ATM or the bank? The way that things are going to go in the future is I strongly believe that the banks that we used to go to are going to kind of become the Blockbusters of 25 years ago when we used to go to the store to rent a movie. The future, the banks will all be digital. And also what's really cool is we have the opportunity to stop counterfeit. So you never have to check for a counterfeit bill again as a small business owner. Your customers don't have to go to the ATM. Things are just becoming really convenient, and it's very exciting. I urge everyone to download the MetalPay app, make a payment, just earn some crypto, just earn some before you buy it, and be cautious because there's all different types of cryptocurrencies, and they can be extremely volatile, just like trading in the stock market, or commodities markets. You have to be very, very careful. So just kind of ease in, play with it. The most valuable thing is to learn about this stuff. That's what I believe.
Yeah, we definitely need to learn more about it because things are going that way, whether some like it or not. So trying to adapt and stay up to this because you're right. I mean, the Blockbuster stores that are going away are going to be the banks here soon, and times move on whether we like it or not. We're talking with Marshall Hayner, CEO of MetalPay. We got just about 45 seconds to a minute left here, but real quickly, I want to ask you, as of right now, is Bitcoin or these digital currencies, are they taxed? And if they're not, when do you think the government may come in and try to start taxing this? Because obviously people are moving their finances that way, and the government's going to want their fair share.
Absolutely, and they are taxed today. They're treated as property, and when you buy some digital currency, you'll be taxed just like anything else that you would, any other sort of asset that you would buy that would appreciate. It's treated like property. And so you will be looking at short-term or long-term capital gains if you do make money off of it. What's incredible is when Bitcoin first launched it in 2009, it didn't really have a price. There was no exchange value. It was trading at roughly a penny. Today it's just trading at an all-time high of $40,000 a coin with no end in sight. And if you are buying these things, just make sure to write down the price you bought it and how much you made, and your tax advisor should be able to help you. Just like anything that you make money on, it is taxed, and please pay your taxes on cryptocurrency.
That's right. No, it's crazy stuff. I appreciate this. MetalPay.com. You can visit them online. Make sure to check out all the information. Download the MetalPay app. Also find them on Twitter at Marshall Hayner and at MetalsPayMe. You can find all that information on social media. Marshall, I appreciate this very much. I'd love to get you back on again soon and talk more about this because it's fascinating, and I'd like to try and understand more.
Thanks again for having me on, Andy.
Hey,
Cheers.
You betcha. It's always a good time. We'll do that again here real soon. We'll take a break, wrap up the show today here on a Thursday, the pre-Friday celebration. Lots more to get to. Where do we go now looking towards 2021 and the rest of the year? We'll do that when we come back here on the show.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast Catch our special features and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason.
Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Thanks for hanging out today. Radio, TV, live streaming, and podcasting. Doesn't matter where you're at, watching or listening. We appreciate you so much. Kicking off a brand new year here, dominating it here on the show. We got the podcast you can find on any of your favorite podcasting sites: Google Play, TuneIn, Apple Music, Amazon Music, TuneIn, Spotify. I mean, we're on all over the place. Just search for the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser. You can find us, subscribe to it, watch us, and listen to us each and every day. You can find the videos of the show on the Facebook page, on the YouTube page, Twitter, Twitch, LinkedIn, all those with the hashtag at Hooser Reason. Also on the website at HooserReason.com. We do have our blog up there as well. Subscribe to the newsletter if you have not done so, and we'd appreciate that very much as well. Totally free. We're not going to spam you. Just a monthly newsletter at the beginning of each month talking about what's going on with the show. Thanks again to Marshall Hayner coming on the show. I got a lot of messages saying, I need some more info, Andy. This is like, what the heck are you talking about with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency? I know. I'm right there with you. No idea. Even after that, here's my biggest struggle with cryptocurrencies is how do you set a value to it? It is like, what is it? It's something online where it's a coin. Okay, it's a coin online, but why is it valuable? How does it have tangible value? And it doesn't. It's all online. Well, then how is there value to it at all? I have a hard time with it. I'm trying to like form it in my mind as like you have value for a website. You purchase your website, my website, HooserReason.com. I pay $30 a year for the domain, and then I pay additional services to be able to upkeep it and actually maintain it and do things to the website. But just the domain, the name HooserReason.com, I pay $30 a year for. So I guess it has value because, and then, I paid for that for the first couple of years. It's going to go up after the value of that goes up because more people go to it and traffic goes up and so on and so forth. And I drive traffic to my website. So the value of it will go up, but when I purchased it, it was at $25, $30 for the domain. So I'm guessing, just to try and put it into my crazy brain perspective, that's kind of the Neanderthal of non-21st century computerized things, that when you purchase a domain like HooserReason.com, that has a value. Bitcoin has a value because there's X amount of them, so therefore you purchase one, and like he said, people that bought it originally were like a penny, now it's worth like $40,000. The fact that there's 21 million of them total means that if 100 million people actually go on to try and buy it, then you're only going to be buying portions of a cryptocurrency. You're not going to get a full coin. Very strange. Don't quite understand it yet, but I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to grasp it. Andy, you're a millennial. You should know all these technical things. But I don't. So we'll just kind of continue on the best that we possibly can. Wrapping up today with a nice little bow on it, as we talked about in the first segment. I don't want to leave you with negative messages, with the negative vibe, as we try and do our Voice of Reason Therapeutic Meditation Center. I don't want to leave you with negative vibes because things are very frustrating now. Things are very, very emotional right now. And my biggest thing is to take emotion out of the conversation, to have a realistic conversation, to have a common sense, reasonable conversation about things, whether it's family, whether it's life, whether it's career, or whether it's politics, to not bring emotion in, which is very hard for some because you see the flag and I start bawling my eyes out. You play the national anthem with a flag waving, and I bawl my eyes out. You retire an American flag, and I'm on the ground sobbing like a 12-year-old girl. Because we are very emotional. We are very patriotic. But when it comes to policy and how we strategize, we have to look 5 steps ahead. We need to start playing chess and not playing checkers. Not just chess. We need to play 3D chess where we're doing it in a 3-dimensional level. Ted Cruz came out with the beautiful response of, you know what, we need to look at a third option rather than just either certifying or not certifying. Let's find a way to make both happy. Let's do an audit, a 10-day audit. We get 5 House members, 5 senators, 5 Supreme Court justices. We do a 10-day audit. If there's nothing there, then we can come back at the end of the day and be like, look at that, it's all done. And then all of us would be like, okay, fine. If there is something, to be like, we told you. And the other side would be like, but then we'd have proof, evidence, but they didn't even want to do that. And then with all the shenanigans that did happen, unfortunately, kind of even steered away from those conversations. But regardless, it wouldn't have gone anywhere anyways because they didn't want to. They didn't want to have the conversation. So what can we do? Tomorrow, my little cliffhanger, we're going to go into deep detail with what we can do in a positive way. In a lighter form, what we can do is continue to educate. Continue to be alert. Don't give up. Don't stop fighting. Don't walk away. Don't put on the blinders. Don't just think it's over and it's done and oh my gosh, what do you do? And do the freak out mode. Don't do it. We're still in control of conversations. We can still lead. We have a loud voice. The nation is a center-right nation. It is not a socialist nation. We don't have a majority of socialists in this country. We are still in the majority. We need to spread our message of conservatism. We need to bring us back to traditional constitutional values, and we need to make that voice heard, and we need to fight it appropriately, and we need to fight those on the left side of the aisle and not just give up and walk away and just be complacent, because that's what they want us to do. They think the popcorn's popped after the little incident yesterday. They got something else coming for them. It's not over by a long shot, and we're going to fix things, and we're going to change things. That does it for us. Podcast going up a little bit. Until then, be your own voice of reason. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. Everybody have a great Thursday night. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HoosierReason.com. Again, HoosierReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.